Long ago, before time had weight, before silence had meaning, there was order, not the fragile order of dust and dying stars, but an order that did not decay, an order that did not argue with itself, an order that did not break. Heaven was not chaotic, it was precise. Power moved with purpose, light moved with intention. Every created thing knew its place and was at peace with it, and among the countless hosts of heaven, one spirit stood in unmatched splendor. They called him the morning star, not because he created light, but because he carried it like a crown. He was formed with precision. Every detail of his being was deliberate. He was clothed in glory that was not his own, but reflected through him more beautifully than through any other. He walked among the fires of heaven like living flame. He stood near the throne, not as an equal, but as one trusted. He carried responsibility. He carried authority. He carried honor. Where he passed, others noticed. Where he spoke, others listened. He was not worshipped, but he was admired. And admiration is a dangerous soil. At first he did not question his place. He did not resent his purpose. He did not resist the order. He rejoiced in it. But perfection has a hidden edge, because one day the morning star did not only see the glory of God reflected in him, he began to see himself, his beauty, his influence, his nearness to power. The way attention followed him like light follows flame, and a thought was born, not as rebellion, but as self-awareness. Why do they look past me to him? Why do they listen to me, but worship only him? Why do I carry such splendor and yet possess no throne? Pride did not arrive like a storm. It arrived like a mirror. The thought did not stay small. It grew from admiration to comparison, from comparison to dissatisfaction, from dissatisfaction to desire, from desire to ambition. He began to measure himself, not against angels, but against God. And in that moment, something ancient and perfect began to fracture. The whisper became a sentence, the sentence became a conviction, and the conviction became a vow. I will ascend, I will exalt my throne, I will be like the Most High. Not beside him, not with him, above him. Heaven did not tremble that day. No alarm sounded, no war broke out, but something far more dangerous was born, a will that no longer agreed with God, and that will would soon divide eternity itself. Ideas are more dangerous than weapons. Rebellion does not begin with war. It begins with a story. The morning star did not raise an army. He raised questions. He moved among the host, not with anger, not with threat, but with reason, with curiosity, with possibility. He spoke of potential. He spoke of freedom. He spoke of destiny restrained by obedience. Why must we only reflect glory when we could share it? Why must we serve forever and never rule? Are we not eternal? Are we not powerful? Are we not worthy of more? He did not attack God. He reframed him. He did not say, God is evil. He said, oh, God is holding you back. The lie was not obvious. That is why it worked. It did not sound like hatred. It sounded like enlightenment. That obedience was oppression. That humility was weakness. That order was injustice. That submission was theft of destiny. Some angels recoiled. Some turned away in silence. But others hesitated. Hesitation is the doorway to agreement. Wonder became discussion. Discussion became sympathy. Sympathy became loyalty. A third of the host did not see chains. They saw crowns. They did not see exile. They saw elevation. They did not see destruction. They saw revolution. And at the center of it all stood the morning star, no longer merely bright, now burning. Heaven was no longer united, and division never stays peaceful for long. Heaven did not argue forever. because rebellion always demands resolution, and war broke out in heaven. Michael and the loyal hosts stood, not in hatred, not in rage, but in obedience. The morning star and his followers rose, not in humility, not in doubt, but in pride, not against weakness, not against uncertainty, but against the source of all being itself. It was not a long war. It was not an even war, because created power cannot overthrow the uncreated. And in a moment like lightning tearing through eternity, he fell, cast down, not just defeated, displaced, not just overpowered, removed, and with him fell every angel who chose his lie over truth. He did not fall as the morning star, he fell as the adversary, stripped of glory, stripped of place, stripped of light. His new name was not a title of honor, Satan, the enemy, the accuser, the opposer. But pride survives the fall. In the wreckage of his fall, one thing remained untouched, his pride. If he could not rule heaven, he would ruin what God loves. And what God loves is humanity. Not because humans are greater than angels, but because they are made in God's image. So the war changed shape, no longer for thrones, now for souls. He did not come with claws, he came with questions. Did God really say, "Why would God withhold this from you? Wouldn't you be more if you decided for yourself?" The same lie, a new target. Satan did not gain a kingdom, he gained a sentence. Hell was not made for humanity. It was prepared for him and his angels, but his vow remains. If I am condemned, I will not be alone. If I am fallen, I will not fall in silence. If I cannot ascend, I will drag as many as possible down with me. He is not God's equal. He is a fallen creature. His greatest weapon is not power, it is persuasion. And his story ends the same way it began. Not with a throne, but with a fall.